What's happening, guys? Steve Mayeda here. This is lesson 5 in our free course community guide. Open up that PDF, get on our Facebook group, get active. This is totally free, 100%. You can also get on our calls, have me live coach you with our awesome alumni, but let's get to work on this. It's good stuff. So this is lesson 5. It's part of a series, and this is all really part of a series, but lesson 4, lesson 5, even lesson 3 tie a lot into male anger and what happens when we can't control it, when it gets out of hand, and instead turning those overreactions into true forces of nature within us. And that's really what I want to do. So this one, we're going to dive deep into some pretty heavy stuff. And if you have not done lesson 4 or lesson 3, I'd check them out. Really, lesson 4, big time. First thing here in that PDF is that we need to be focusing on mental health in the right areas if we need it. So that means if you're somebody that you have a problem, a psychological issue, you shouldn't be ashamed of it, and you should get the help that you need. This course, this series, this PDF, it's a self-help course, and it's going to help you out a lot, but it does not replace what you might need for mental illness and so on. So do that. Be smart about it. Also, if you need legal advice, don't look for us. Come on, do the necessary things. Talk to the right people. Okay, the next thing is that this is a community, and it's a beautiful community. It's a community that works. It's a community that is meant to not only work these PDFs via calls, via interactive Facebook group, Austin Men's Development, but it's a community where people really care. I need you to invest in yourself. I need you to invest in the whole process. I don't need you to sit on the sidelines. And if you do that, you might as well just leave, because this isn't going to work. So get on the calls, stay active. Okay, just the craziest thing here, I knew that was going to happen. It popped out of focus because you don't need to care about the equipment I'm using, but it is weatherproof, which is pretty cool because I can record this in the rain, which I've been here for 2 hours and it just started raining. So if we get to this part of the PDF where we say on the edge of hate, we talk a lot about how there's an iceberg and we only see the top, but there's this huge thing under it. And we're really good in self-help and life and our Instagram culture and whatever it is we're looking at, men's development, at looking at the tip of the iceberg and solving that problem. This means we're solving problems and putting out fires like, oh, we're yelling at our wife, how do I manage my anger? Or we're, stressed out about losing a job, how do we calm ourselves and find peace? Whereas what we should be doing is, of course, putting out those fires, but we should be preventing the things that cause those fires. We should really be, as men, looking at building a foundation of strength so that anything can happen to us and that we can survive through it. And that is what my groups have always been focused on. So we're gonna make 5 columns. We're gonna put in that column, we're gonna put who, we're gonna put what they did, we're gonna put how that affects us, we're gonna put our part in there, and then we're gonna put our fears. So 5 columns across the top. Now, I only want you to work with 5 people you're pissed off, people or things, people, places, or things. So that could be, most like in recovery, a lot of it starts out with the people. It's like, oh, my mom, my dad, my ex, my spouse, my brother, my, friend growing up. I have all this list of people that I'm angry at. And in recovery, we do a thorough list. My last inventory took over a year to do. Probably could have done it in 4 months, 5 months. But it was a lot. It was a lot. And I've also processed hundreds of these with people in rehabs and so on. So this is something that is pretty intense. We're just going to do 5. So we're going to do 5 people, or 3 people and 2 things, but definitely get some people on there. That's key. So we fill that out and we make a list of those 5 people, places, or things. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do what. So this is where it gets kind of crazy. If you put your wife on there, and if you're married, she probably should be on there, you're going to put the many things that piss you off about her, and don't go overkill. Stop it at 3, but don't just think you can limit it to 1. It's like, she yells at me for not taking out the trash. She says I'm lazy. She says I do nothing. She lessens my masculinity. She watches too much feminist stuff, or whatever it is, right? You're gonna write about what pisses you off. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna put the next person down, and you're gonna put in that column what pisses you off about them. That thing, maybe the government, or maybe it's like, libertarianism or something like that. You're going to put what pisses you off about it. Then what you're going to do is you're going to write how it affects you. Now, all of this is broken down in the PDF quite a bit. I'm a little bit rushed because these things are free videos, and it's raining. whatever. So you're gonna put how that affects you. Now, a lot of that might be like, that affects my bank, that affects my pocketbook, that affects my self-esteem, that affects my identity as a man. All those things you're gonna put in that column. And it's really important. I know you might be thinking this is stupid, but it's so not. It's gonna help so many people. Then in the next column, the fourth column, you're gonna put your part. So you're going to write like, man, well, I was late to work, or I, am a dick to my wife. I don't know who hates who. Maybe I started the fights. Those types of things you're going to put in there. And it's important to look at. And really in that, what we're looking at here is we're looking at a map of how to process a problem. And it's actually a piece of amazing technology and information to be able to do this. It's really awesome. The last column, we're going to put our fear in there. So how this might look is like, I'm angry at my wife because she belittles me as a man. How that affects me is it affects my self-esteem, my sense of identity, who I am, my ambition towards raising my kids, And then you're gonna put your partner. Well, I am rude to her. I could be lazy at times. She always gets me when I'm done with work and so on. And then my fear might be, I'm fear of being alone. I'm fear of being wrong. I'm afraid of being less than I really think I am. And so we do those 5 columns, and it can be pretty taxing. I'm just gonna tell you right now, in recovery, this is an intense thing, although we do it for like everything in our life, so it takes a long time to do it. When we do this, it really is able to stress us out and mess with our brains. It's pretty crazy. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the look in the rear view mirror part. Okay, so we get to that part of the PDF, and man, I cannot tell you enough. Be on the calls for this. This is gonna help you out so much. Like, if you don't understand any of this is gonna help you out so much. Let me break it down for you individually on the calls. But the rear view mirror is something that I see some people do in recovery. I see some people do inventories way differently in recovery. In fact, my last one was. Anyway, this is something that I think should be looked at a little bit more with people in recovery. So then we go, let's start with that fear. And we break this down in the PDF, but I'm afraid of being alone. Because I'm afraid of being alone, I'm gonna put all the different my parts, whether it was my boss, my best friend, my ex-wife, my current wife, whatever. I'm gonna put all those in under that fear. So I'm gonna now inventory the fear. And I just go like, man, I'm afraid of being alone. And this makes me not want to work in front of my kids in this way. This makes me rebel against my boss. This makes me angry at these things. This makes me not forget the abuse I had as a kid. This makes me want to just say fuck it to everything because I'm afraid of being alone. And because I want to say fuck to everything, that now ties into what it affects me. So we're going to start to look at that column, that third one of how this affects me, and plug in, man, that's actually behind how I rebel against my boss. That's behind how I just hate my wife, how I won't let go of this resentment, how I remember the abuse of my past and it still affects me. Those are really cool. So what we get from this, and it's pretty amazing, I know I'm going fast, is that we see how our fears control us. Because I'm afraid of failure. I'm afraid of what that will do to me. And maybe that's because of some of the who's and what's in the column, but I'm also reacting to those who's and what's in the column because I can't process it right. They may have done the wrong thing, they may be assholes, but this is a way to find peace and strength as a man. It's really cool. So it's an awesome process. It's an awesome thing. Please, guys, I make these videos so that you can better yourself in ways that work. I almost never coach in a way that is a quick fix or feed guys things where they, I don't know, have this simple, easy life hack of a way of finding happiness and peace. And the reason for that is because I do stuff that works. And the reason for that is we as men need to build foundations of strength that can make us live through anything. One, so it can hold my ambition of what I'm going to do with my life, but two, so if that gets swept off the map, which it inevitably will at certain times in your life if you're living it and pushing it, that I can rebuild on top of that foundation. This is that foundation. This is that thing where I know anything can happen to my life and I can live through it. I can be hurt. I can be sad. I can be broken in so many ways, but there's a core side of me that is protected, that can be built on it, and that's what I want to share with everybody. So that's some pretty awesome stuff. Guys, there's a lot of access for you on this material. I want you to do it. Let's do it, and let's get to work.